Hi, Andrew Demko, John Demko here at Demko Knives. Today we're going to tell you about our AD22. It's a new model that we're producing here in-house in our Newcastle, Pennsylvania factory, and it is our smallest offering of our American-made knives at this point.
Our standard AD20 with a full thickness blade. And then I also have a compact with a full thickness blade here.
So of note, the AD20 is typically a 3.5-inch blade. When we say 3.5-inch blade, we're referring to the cutting edge of 3.5 inches from the point to this choil right here is about nominally 3.5 inches. Because if you measure to the handle, you don't know top of the handle, bottom of the handle, the shape's curved, what's the exact measurement. So we're referring to the edge length. The AD22 is a 3-inch edge length nominally. So it's a bit smaller than the AD20. However, it comes in very close to our AD20 compact. It's very similar in size to the compact, just slightly shorter, maybe a 1/2 inch, maybe 3/8 of an inch. However,
the blade length's about the same, right? What you would consider the blade length, but the overall package is.
Yeah, the cutting edge is almost, I mean, it's still that 1/4 inch less,
right,
or so. But overall, it's much thinner, it's much lighter. And I believe that G10 AD22 comes in about maybe 3.8 ounces. It's a pretty light knife. And if you bump up to the titanium, you're just over 5. It might be about 5.2 or 5.3.
Those have the internal milling.
Yeah, they have all the features to make it as light as possible. They're pocketed out internally from the inside to remove weight. Key features to this are that it has what we're using as an integral pocket clip deep carry, and it is reversible, meaning you can take the pin out, one pin out, swing the clip out, and put it on the other side for a left side carry. A brief demonstration on the pocket clip is we have the back screws. There's a combination part that comes into our front standoff right here. You can forget about that. So the clip basically will sit in here. You put this pin, actually it goes this way. And then when you want to reverse it, you just knock one pin out and you can push it out easily, even with a toothpick. Take that out, flip it around to the other side of the knife, tilt it in this way, and then install your pin right here. So it's only a one screw takeout operation to make it from left-hand carry to right-hand carry. This is pretty unique, and I'll be the first one to tell you you won't see probably this anywhere else because it is not necessarily a manufacturable item because it's very costly to make the clip like this. We have these in steel and in titanium. They are wire cut out of a solid piece of steel as opposed to a bent piece of steel. Like, you know, honestly, every pocket clip that's bent steel, it's not very expensive. But they're expensive, you know, but they're not crazy. This most people would never make because it's very expensive.
Well,
but it makes an excellent clip.
It does, and my favorite part is the knurling you were able to add on that, because if it's just a stamped piece of steel, you can't add that feature. Deep carry clips are never my favorite, but the fact that you can grab onto this because of that feature is very helpful.
We've got a lot of requests for deep carry pocket clips. Neither one of us really care for them. I know they're fine, but we work in a location where it's perfectly fine to have a knife. We work in a knife factory. You can have a knife sticking out of your pocket. Many places you cannot, and so they want the minimum profile. But the problem is they're very slippery and they're hard to get out because it's just folded steel, folded titanium. So by machining this out of a block of steel, we're able to add features, leave these features, these kind of ribs up here, and they give you a really great purchase to get this out of your pocket with your finger. So it's the only way I'll do a deep carry pocket clip for myself when I'm carrying a knife.
What I think is really interesting about the 22 and the compact is the compact really, we didn't mean it to be in production. You just one day shortened the 20 handle and we shortened the blade. So it's an AD20 that just kind of got chopped.
Yes.
Where the 22 is designed to be this size. That being the case, when you design this, you design it to be linerless, which in this package and this size is a great option, especially in G10 or our carbon fiber options that lighten it up and make it very intentional design. And if you want to compare, this is a 20 scale and a 22 scale.
So the really great thing about a shark lock is you can use a steel liner, or in our case, we use a partial steel liner. But however, you do not need a steel liner, and the knife can be fine. Now, you do have to design a little bit differently to allow more room in those stress points in the failure tests. Most knives must have a steel liner. They're not a standalone product that can go in any handle material frame that's a suitable handle material. As far as its components, a minimalist knife where it has one piece of G10 left and right. Now there really is, if I can pat myself in the back, some excellence in engineering on this particular design. And my favorite thing about this is that the knife looks this way, we didn't say, hey, let's make a knife that looks like this. It looks this way because we designed around the idea that it has to be linerless. So important parts grew or changed to make it linerless. Then we had to work with that shape. And this is exactly the consequence of all those ideals. That's why it's this shaped, this width, this design basically. However, we do have multiple blade shapes coming in here. I think we're working on one soon.
We're working on a few. The shark's foot style is typically our favorite, and it really, in this design, it's just the perfect starting point. You get that continuous curve across the top that you always like so much.
Yes.
This is what we made the customs of. We're doing some dealer exclusives that are more radical blade shapes, but we're also going to do more of our standard blade shapes in our regular production, which will be a lot of fun.
So just a word on the strength and reliability and durability of this knife. This knife will perform, in my opinion, as good as, or probably most likely better than most other knives in its weight class without the steel liners. So while if we took the same knife, put steel liners in, yes, it would be stronger, but this meets all of our strength requirements for a knife this size and this weight. And it's basically stronger than any liner lock, or way stronger than any of those locks in this size, this weight, this type of knife. So we're very happy with the performance of this knife. It all came together really.
Yeah, and if you feel like you need a little reinforcement, titanium's.
Well, there you go. Yeah, if you say, a lot of people, you can't sell them a knife without liners because we're conditioned to need liners, not knowing that the design is okay without. But yes, once you put in the full tie frame, you have maximum strength, and it gets no stronger than that. So we have it all.
Who is this ideal for?
I think mainly it's most ideal for someone who wants a smaller, more compact version of our American-made knife. Basically, who's just EDC, a very, very, very high quality knife.
So it's a little more everyday carry focused as opposed to the AD20, because I know you think this is small.
I do.
But most people want a slightly smaller profile in their
most
pocket.
People consider this a huge knife, and I'm like, this is hardly standard for my liking. But if you're going on an expedition, you want a knife at least this big, and you want a lot more too. You want at least this. But many people will say, oh, that knife is huge. And so that's where the 22 comes in. You know, it's much more, I don't know if it's more tame looking, but it's certainly, you know, not
size-wise, it's more
somebody if you had to use this in public to open something or whatever.
Yeah, and one decision we made when I was setting up the grind on this is to go a little thinner behind the edge compared to the grind we put on the 20s in the compact.
Yeah, we don't see that this knife, although it could, it's as strong as it can be, but you know, you have to pick your battle. We want cutting performance, and we more biased on the sliciness of this knife because, again, you're not really taking this on your expedition as your only knife. This is your EDC knife that you needed to cut first before. You're not necessarily processing firewood.
No.
You're processing everyday life.
So what's your choices on the handle shape? Why did you make that?
The handle, you know, this is one of my favorite handles for many years from the AD11, and I had a like a computer thing. What do we call that?
A drive?
No, something last night on for some reviewers, and I had used this same type of handle on the Cass Iberia collaboration we did.
Oh, okay.
The Cass Bowie, the Demko Bowie, and it's that same
two-stage kind of.
Two-stage grip, which I always love because then you can come back and hold your index finger here and have a lot of room if you need to reach for something. And it's really great for every size hand because if you're centering from the center of your hand on the center of the handle, basically, you have room left and right. So it's a real universal handle while still giving you a feature that gives you good purchase for your grip. That's my favorite part about this handle. And this handle shape has been with me for 30 years probably. So it keeps reoccurring.
Yeah. Potentially it can be slightly more universal than the compact handle that locks your hand in, because some people tell me their hand's too big for stuff like that.
Some people will say that. Now, most of us have the same sized hand or the same, guess what? Everybody's hand is almost the same shape. So if anybody says, well, yeah, it's because everybody has the same hands. That's what
But
this handle's like.
fit with anything's preference.
Yeah.
So some people just prefer not to be that locked in.
You'd have to have a mighty big hand for this not to fit your hand, and some people do. I'll sell them this.
Why might someone choose the 22 over a compact? Or why might you suggest the 22 over a compact?
I think the main thing is just the size in your pocket, the size mainly in the closed position. You know, when they're open, they're not that much different. But, you know, sadly, 90%, 99% of your knife's life is closed in your pocket. So it has to be so carryable and discreet and concealed that you don't notice it until you need it. And you know, the compact is heavier, it's a bit wider, it's thicker this direction. So although it's easy to carry, it's not as carryable as a 22 with the deep carry pocket clip.
Well, I don't know if I have any more made up questions out of nowhere.
I don't know how you pulled those.
I made them all up just now.
Let me think of a question.
All right.
All right, here I go. This is great. It's like a therapy session.
Yeah.
It's
knife therapy.
Wait, tell me about production, because you're really in charge.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm kind of in my treehouse there doing the designs and not caring usually about anything else.
Yeah, that's 100% true.
Has there been any difference in the manufacturing? I mean, we don't have tabs. I mean, there's some cool things, right?
Yeah, the linerless construction has been great so far. We did move to the new bearings on these. So previously on the slims, we're using the 1mm bearings. We changed these along with most all the slims so far to the 1.2.
They are very excellent ceramic, brass caged.
Yeah.
1.2mm bearing, and I believe they're staggered.
They're staggered. So you get two rows, but they're really close together. If you look at them, you almost can't tell they're staggered.
Yeah, I mean, they're staggered like a Glock mag is a staggered mag. Kind of.
Yeah.
Really, but they have a tremendous amount of surface area, so you can crank those down.
They have a totally different feel with because there's so much surface area. That's why I was considering moving everything to the 1.5mm bearings that we were using a lot, but you don't get as much surface area. They're bigger balls, but
I mean, that's good too. The point is that you can the bigger the bearings, it's better because you can put more pressure on them. But in this case, because it's staggered, there's more surface area even in that small. So you have more bearings in that same race.
Along with able to leave more steel in the blade, some more material.
Yes.
A strength benefit too. It was a while ago when we ground these. We did the bevel grinding, and for whatever reason, this is one of the easiest projects I do in the grinder. And when we made the decision to grind to 10 thou rather than 15 like normal, it went very smooth. A lot of times the shark's foot style blade can be difficult because you just have that real thin tip coming off the wheel.
All of a sudden you have surface area, then very little, and you're changing your pressures on that cutting wheel.
But for whatever reason, I must have just kind of guessed right in my calculations on it, and this is probably the smoothest grinding operation we did.
These are currently in Magna Cut.
Magna Cut.
That.
Yeah, we plan to expand the steels along with blade shapes. What blade shape were you thinking for the next inline one, which would be our production that goes out through our website and through most of our dealers?
Well, we do have a clip point design. And did we do a Copus for this?
Oh yeah, we did try a Copus
too. Then there's another one that's an exclusive.
The barong blade.
Exclusive barong for
DLT. And there will be more exclusives coming in this, but that'll be the first one you'll see.
This does do the super flick like that, like the other ones do, which is my favorite. Like, it's just fast.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Excited about this release. I'm looking forward to getting it out.
And this will be basically a staple of Demko Knives.
Yeah, I want to make this. I've been pushing the compact out to be part of a regular production. 22 has been in regular production. 2026, I want to keep the 22 and the XL variations in standard production as well. Sign up for Demko Knives newsletter for release information on the AD22.
And thank you for all your support.